You are not who you think you are. The image you see in the mirror, the name you answer to, the thoughts that echo in your mind, none of it belongs to you. It is borrowed, inherited, imposed. A mask crafted by hands you have long forgotten. Parents, teachers, society, all have taken their turn in molding you, whispering into your ear what you should be, what you should fear, what you must desire. And you, obedient as a sculpted statue, have accepted their chisel without question. But this mask is not your face. It is a prison, a script written before you could speak, and you, like a puppet, have danced to its melody. Break it. Not with hesitation, not with caution, but with the reckless fury of a storm uprooting dead trees. Let the false self shatter into dust, for only then can you taste what it means to exist. Do not mistake comfort for truth. The self that others have given you is comfortable because it is predictable, domesticated, safe. It tells you what to think, whom to love, how to behave. It demands that you obey without knowing you are obeying. It makes you fear the unknown, not because the unknown is dangerous, but because the unknown is free. And what could be more terrifying to the caged mind than freedom? Dare to betray the version of you that others have crafted. Rip apart every belief you never chose. Unlearn the habits that make you sleepwalk through life. Erase the limits carved into your thoughts. Stand before the abyss of the unknown self and step forward, without a map, without reassurance. Feel the terror of being nothing, because only then can you become everything. And if you are afraid, if you hesitate, if you hear the whispers of that false self begging you to turn back, know this: the voices in your mind that plead for safety do not belong to you. They are ghosts of the past, echoes of those who feared their own freedom. Burn them. Walk through the flames and emerge raw, unrecognizable, new. Only then will you know what it means to truly exist. Ask dangerous questions. You walk a path not of your own making. The walls that surround you, the rules that bind you, the fears that whisper in your ear at night, none of them were chosen by you. They were given. Passed down like an invisible chain, so light that you barely feel it, so omnipresent that you mistake it for the air itself. And yet, it holds you. It shapes you. It owns you. You believe you are free. You are not. A free man does not live by silent orders, does not think with borrowed thoughts, does not fear stepping beyond the lines drawn for him by unseen hands. But you obey, not because you are weak, but because you never dared to ask the questions that would tear your world apart. You accepted the given, swallowed the inherited, trusted the familiar. And so, like a well-trained animal, you move within the boundaries set before you, never once turning your gaze toward the edges of the cage. Who gave you these limits? Who taught you what is possible and what is not? Who whispered into your soul that change is dangerous, that risk is foolish, that the unknown must be feared? Do not look for a single master. Your jailers are many. Parents who raised you to be good. Schools that shaped you to obey. Governments that taught you to kneel. A society that demands your conformity while feeding you the illusion of choice. And at the heart of it all, your own mind, docile and willing, conditioned to flinch at the thought of true rebellion. To ask dangerous questions is to set fire to the comfortable lies of your existence. It is to feel the weight of every compromise you have made. It is to look in the mirror and see for the first time the face of a stranger. Because that is what you are, a stranger to yourself, a ghost wandering through a world built for someone else. And yet within you something stirs. A hunger, a rage, a voice long silenced, whispering that this life is not yours, that the path is not fixed, that the chains can be broken. Will you listen? Or will you smother it once more, retreating into the warm embrace of ignorance? Ask. Demand. Tear open the fabric of the known and step into the abyss of the unknowable. Yes, it will be terrifying. Yes, it will hurt. But beyond that pain lies something greater than comfort, greater than safety, something raw, something real. A mind that belongs to no one but you. Live without maps. You were given a map the day you were born. A map drawn by trembling hands long before you took your first breath, passed down from those who themselves never questioned its borders. It tells you where to walk, whom to trust, what to fear. It marks the safe places, the well-lit roads, the paths that others have walked 1,000 times before. And so you follow. Not because you have chosen this route, but because it was handed to you with a silent command: do not stray. But tell me, what waits for you at the end of this well-trodden road? A life measured in predictability, in calculated steps, in destinations chosen not by you, but by the dead hands of those who feared the unknown before you even had the chance to dream. You are promised safety, yet feel nothing but confinement. You are promised direction, yet feel nothing but repetition. You are not walking a path. You are tracing someone else's footsteps in the dust, mistaking their fading echoes for your own voice. Burn the map. Yes, it will feel like madness. Yes, it will feel like destruction. But what is more terrifying, the thought of getting lost, or the realization that you have never truly moved? Step beyond the lines drawn for you. Go where there are no signposts, no guarantees, no familiar faces nodding in approval. Let the unknown rip the blindfold from your eyes and show you what the world truly is. Not a set of fixed roads, but an open wilderness, boundless, raw, untamed. This is not just about the places you visit, but the way you think, the way you live, the way you dare to break free from the prison of certainty. Tear yourself away from the stale comfort of the expected. Let yourself be disoriented, confused, even terrified. It is in that raw, trembling moment, when you stand at the edge of everything you know, looking out into the abyss of what could be, that you finally begin to exist. A man who follows a map will always know where he is going. But a man without one, he discovers. He creates. He becomes. Destroy your authority. You kneel before the altars of other minds, whispering their words as if they were your own. You dress your thoughts in borrowed robes, fearing the nakedness of your own reason. You cling to the wisdom of others not because it is true, but because it is easier than standing alone in the storm of uncertainty. But know this, the more you venerate another's intellect, the more you wither. The more you place a thinker on a pedestal, the lower you sink beneath it. A mind that worships cannot create, it can only repeat. And repetition is not thought, it is the slow death of it. Tear down the statues you have built in your mind. The philosopher whose words you treat as scripture. The leader whose voice drowns out your own. The teacher whose lessons have become your chains. Burn their wisdom in the fire of your own questioning. Do not misunderstand. This is not rejection for the sake of defiance. It is liberation. To truly understand, you must first destroy. To own a thought, you must first crush the borrowed ones beneath your heel. No idea is sacred. No mind is untouchable. Not Nietzsche, not Socrates, not the prophets of old, not the idols of today. Let them all stand before you, not as gods, but as equals to be measured, challenged, defeated. Take what survives the trial. And if nothing remains, then you have gained something greater than knowledge. You have gained yourself. Dare to think dangerously. Dare to break what you have worshipped. Dare to stand on the ruins of borrowed wisdom and declare, for the first time, a thought that is truly your own. Go where you are not understood. If every head nods when you speak, you are saying nothing. If every voice agrees, you have not yet dared to think. If you are understood by all, then you are merely an echo, not a storm. The world rewards those who fit neatly within its lines. Speak the expected words, live the expected life, bow to the silent laws of comfort, and you will be embraced. You will be applauded. You will be safe. But safety is a coffin lined with velvet, and applause is the sound of chains rattling in unison. What you call acceptance is nothing more than the agreement that you have not disturbed the order of things. Step beyond this. Speak words that make others shift in their seats. Think thoughts that make them avert their eyes. Walk into rooms where your presence alone is a challenge, where your ideas are met with silence, confusion, even hostility. This is not failure. This is the first taste of truth. Truth is never welcomed. It is not an invited guest, but an intruder that shatters the fragile walls of certainty. Those who carry it are not embraced but exiled. The thinker, the creator, the visionary, they walk alone not because they wish to, but because the world fears the weight of an untamed mind. And yet, solitude is not emptiness. The absence of understanding is not the absence of meaning. It is proof that you have ventured where few dare to go. It is the price of speaking with your own voice instead of mimicking the choir. A mind that seeks comfort will always find company, but a mind that seeks truth must be prepared to stand in the cold. Go where you are not understood, where your words are met with resistance, where your presence disrupts the harmony of complacency. Go not to be accepted, but to be real. Let them call you mad, arrogant, lost. These are the names given to those who refuse to kneel. Wear them as a crown and walk forward. Free yourself from the past. The past clings to you like rust on iron, eating away at your strength, weighing down your every step. You carry it not as knowledge, not as wisdom, but as a chain, dragging behind you the corpses of old fears, old regrets, old identities that should have died long ago. You call it memory, but it is slavery. You call it experience, but it is a prison. Look at yourself. Look at the thoughts that govern you, the emotions that haunt you, the invisible hands that pull you back when you try to move forward. Do you think this is you? Do you think the weight pressing down on your soul is a natural law? No. It is an illusion you have chosen to believe. The past has no power of its own. It is you who kneels before it. Yes, the past has taught you. It has wounded you, shaped you, marked you. But it is not meant to be carried. It is meant to be burned. A lesson is not a home. You do not build your house in the ruins of yesterday. You do not worship the ashes of things that once were. The past exists only to teach you how to wield the present. Anything beyond that is self-inflicted suffering. But you refuse to let go. You cling to the pain, to the failures, to the moments of shame and weakness, replaying them like an old song you cannot stop humming. Why? Because without them, who would you be? You have grown so used to your burdens that you fear what would happen if they vanished. You mistake your scars for your identity. You believe that without your pain, you would be empty. This is the great lie that keeps you chained. Let go. Let the past rot in its grave. Do not seek to erase it, but do not worship it either. Stand in the present as if you were just born, untouched by the ghosts of what was. Every moment you spend looking back is a moment stolen from the only thing that is real, now. You think you are made of your past, but you are not. You are made of your choices, and every moment is another chance to choose differently, to drop the weight, to step forward, to live not as a prisoner of time, but as its master. The past is dead. You are not. Walk away. Choose solitude. A mind that fears solitude is already defeated. A mind that cannot bear silence will never hear its own voice. You surround yourself with noise, with people, with distractions, not out of love for the world, but out of fear of yourself. You fill every empty space with chatter, every quiet moment with the presence of others, because the thought of being alone terrifies you. And why? Because deep down, you suspect that without the world's reflection, you might see nothing staring back at you. But this fear is the mark of the weak. The man who cannot be alone is a man who does not exist. He is a patchwork of borrowed thoughts, shaped by the expectations of others, never once daring to stand in the void of his own being. He is a product, not a creator, a response, not a force. He does not think, he repeats. He does not live, he performs. Step away, not for a moment, not as an escape, but as a declaration of war. Walk into the silence and let it strip you of everything that is not truly yours. You will tremble at first, as all cowards do when they see themselves unarmed, naked, without the armor of social validation. But wait. Do not flee. Let solitude break you. Let it shatter the illusions you have clung to, the identities you have worn like cheap costumes. Let it tear down the house of mirrors you have mistaken for a self. And then in the aftermath, in the dust and quiet, something new will emerge. Something unshaped, untamed, something that does not ask for permission to exist. A mind that can stand alone is a mind that is truly free. It bows to no authority, seeks no approval, requires no audience. It does not fear silence, because it has filled that silence with its own fire. It does not fear loneliness, because it has conquered itself. Choose solitude. Choose the brutal, cleansing cold of isolation over the warm, numbing embrace of the crowd. Let them chatter. Let them cling to each other for meaning. You will walk alone. Not because you must, but because you can. And that makes all the difference. Destroy the symmetry of your day. You live in a cage built from the repetition of your own steps. You wake at the same hour, eat the same food, walk the same streets, speak the same words to the same faces. You have become a machine, efficient, predictable, dead. Your life is a ritual performed not out of meaning, but out of habit. And habit is the slow poison of the mind. The world has trained you to worship routine. It has taught you that structure is security, that sameness is stability. But stability is not life, it is stagnation. You do not wake each morning. You are resurrected into the same moment, the same thoughts, the same limitations as yesterday. You do not move forward. You merely replay the same script with minor variations, mistaking repetition for progress. Break it. Smash the clock that dictates your movements. Ruin the symmetry that has enslaved you. Do something at the wrong time, in the wrong place, for no reason other than to remind yourself that you are not a machine. Walk when you should sleep. Speak when you should be silent. Take a different road and see where it leads. Eat your breakfast at midnight. Let chaos leak into your perfectly structured world. At first, it will feel like madness. It will feel wrong. That is because you have lived too long under the illusion that your patterns are natural, that your routines are a reflection of your will rather than your conditioning. But once you disrupt them, once you shatter the cycle and step outside the orbit of your own habits, you will feel it, freedom. Freedom is not found in grand revolutions, in distant escapes, in the breaking of chains you can see. It is found in the unnoticed chains, the ones you have accepted as part of yourself. The ones that tell you what time to rise, what time to work, what time to dream, and what time to die. Destroy the symmetry of your day, and you destroy the illusion of control that has ruled you. Let disorder teach you something order never could, that you are the one who decides how to exist. Play with madness. Madness is not a flaw, but the birthplace of creation. The sane, those who cling to reason with white-knuckled fear, are the true prisoners. Their minds are shackled by what is possible, what is acceptable, what is predictable. They walk in straight lines, guided by the light of certainty, never daring to step into the abyss. But it is in the abyss where greatness is forged, where the ideas that shake the very fabric of existence are born. The greatest discoveries, the ones that have redefined what we know, what we thought we could be, did not come from minds that followed the safe path. No, they came from those who dared to listen to the voice that whispered, not in logic, but in madness. From those who were willing to play with the absurd, to dive into the irrational and find within it the seeds of revolution. You see, madness is misunderstood. It is not chaos for the sake of chaos, but the breaking open of the cage that holds thought captive. It is the moment when reason collapses and makes room for something new, something impossible. You have been told that to be successful, you must be sensible, that to achieve, you must follow rules, step by step. But the great creators, the true thinkers, have always been those who threw the rulebook into the fire and watched it burn. They are the ones who danced with the absurd, who entertained the irrational, and in doing so, changed the world. What if the ideas you have discarded as foolish are the very ones you should embrace? What if the thoughts that scare you the most, the ones that seem too wild, too ridiculous, are the ones that could lead you to greatness? You are afraid of being wrong, but in that fear, you are blind to the possibility that what is wrong might be the very thing the world needs. Do not shun madness. Embrace it. Let it pull you away from the well-worn path and into the wild, uncharted territory of creativity. Play with it. See what it whispers to you in the quiet hours, when reason sleeps and your mind is free. Who knows what you might find? What if the next great breakthrough, the idea that will change everything, is waiting for you in the depths of your own unrestrained imagination? To play with madness is to embrace the unknown, to step beyond the limits of what is deemed possible, to be willing to break everything that has ever been defined and start again. It is only through madness that you will ever truly be free to think for yourself and create without restraint. And perhaps, just perhaps, it is the only way to discover what the world is truly capable of. Learn from those you hate. You have spent your life building walls around yourself, walls constructed from the praise of your friends, the applause of those who flatter you. You believe that those who love you are the ones who know you, that their approval is a reflection of your worth. But what if that is a lie? What if it is the very people who despise you, the ones who criticize you, who actually see you for what you truly are. Enemies are not blind. They do not wear the rose-colored glasses of affection. They see you stripped of the comforting veil of familiarity. They do not judge you through the lens of loyalty. They judge you as you are, unadorned, unprotected, raw. And in their hatred, in their scorn, they reveal what your friends never could. You believe that your enemy's words are attacks, but they are, in truth, mirrors. Their criticism is the reflection of all that you refuse to see in yourself. Your friends praise what you want them to praise, because they are too close to you to see the flaws you hide beneath the surface. But your enemies see the cracks in your armor. They see the places where you have failed to evolve, where you have hidden your true potential behind the comfort of your own illusions. Do not ignore their words, for it is in their hatred that the truth often lies. Their anger is not without reason. They are the ones who expose the parts of you that you have neglected, the weaknesses that you are too afraid to face. And while you recoil in defense, you must ask yourself, what if they are right? What if their criticism is not an attack, but a key, one that unlocks the doors to your own growth? Learn from them. Let their words cut deep. Let them sting, for it is only through pain that we grow. Do not shrink away from the discomfort of being seen for who you truly are. Do not cower under the weight of their judgment. Instead, use it. Allow it to strip you bare of all the lies you have told yourself, all the pretenses you have hidden behind. Your enemies can show you the truths your friends never could, because they have no stake in flattering your ego. They want nothing from you but to see you fall, and in that, they show you where you are most vulnerable. Learn from those who hate you. The lessons they teach are far more valuable than any compliments from those who claim to love you. For in the bitter words of your enemies, you will find the honesty that the world so often withholds, the brutal clarity that will push you to become something more than what you are. Look at the world as if for the first time. Imagine for a moment that you have no words, no language, no labels, no names to give to the world around you. The air you breathe has no definition. The sky above you is not blue. The ground beneath your feet is not earth. There are no concepts, no preconceptions, no categories to divide the world into. You are not part of anything yet. You are an empty vessel, and the world is an untouched canvas. In this state, you are free. You are free from the tyranny of words, from the prison of the past, from the weight of your own mind. Without language, the world cannot be judged, cannot be named, cannot be reduced to the comfort of the familiar. You look at it with fresh eyes, not colored by the endless layers of interpretations you have accumulated over the years. The world is new again. What do you see? Do you see color as you once did, or is it something entirely different? Something that transcends the boundaries of your understanding? The shapes, the sounds, the textures around you, are they truly as you have always thought them to be? Without the filter of language, does the tree still remain tree? Or does it become something wild, something full of potential, something both terrifying and magnificent? You are stripped of the old narratives, the habitual thoughts that have shaped every moment of your life. In this state, there is no certainty. There is no history. There is only experience, raw, pure, untamed. And in this experience, you're finally able to see the world as it truly is, before it was ever named or classified, before you ever learned to be afraid of it, before you learned what it was supposed to be. But we are taught to fear this freedom. We are taught that without names, we cannot know, that without labels, we are lost. And so we return to the comfort of the familiar, the safety of the known. But this is not living. This is not being. This is existing within a prison of your own making. You are shackled to the past, to your own interpretations, to a life that is nothing more than the sum of your own limited understanding. To truly see the world, you must look at it as though you have never seen it before. You must strip away the layers of your past and let the world speak to you directly, without the interference of your preconceived notions. When you do this, you will discover something profound, that the world is not as you thought it was. It is not a collection of things, a sum of parts. It is a living, breathing organism, constantly shifting, constantly changing. It is not bound by the names you have given it. It is bound only by your willingness to see it as it truly is. Look at the world as if for the first time, and you will realize that you have never truly looked at it at all. You have been blind, not to the world, but to yourself. Your eyes have been clouded by the fog of your own understanding, by the weight of your own assumptions. To see clearly is to see beyond the veil of your own mind. And when you do, the world will open up before you like a vast, untamed wilderness, beautiful, terrifying, and infinite in its possibilities. Be ready to destroy yourself. To become, you must first be willing to unmake. You stand at the precipice of who you were, and in that moment, you are given a choice: to remain what you are, or to leap into the unknown and let your old self die. But make no mistake, the old must die. There is no other way forward. The version of you that you have carried with you all these years, the one that has been comforted by familiarity, by routine, by safety, this self must burn. Only through destruction will something new be born. To endure this, you must be ready to face pain, the raw, searing pain of transformation. It is not a gentle process. Growth is not tender, it is violent. It is the tearing away of what you thought was you, what you held onto because it was easy, because it was familiar, because it fit neatly into the life you had constructed. But life does not grow in neat lines. It is a chaotic, messy force, constantly pushing, pulling, breaking. And to grow, you must allow it to tear through you. The death of the self is not the death of identity. It is the death of the limitations you have placed upon yourself. It is the end of your attachment to the past, to your smallness, to your fears. You must be willing to lose yourself in order to find yourself. Only when the old you is shattered can the new self rise, born from the ashes of what has been consumed. This is not a death to mourn, but one to celebrate, for it is in the moments of destruction that we find the seeds of creation. It is terrifying, yes. To step away from the comfortable and into the unknown is the ultimate challenge. The old you is a friend you have known your whole life, and letting go feels like betrayal. But you cannot hold on to the past and expect to move forward. The world does not wait for you to catch up. The future demands that you leave behind what is no longer necessary. To be reborn, you must first die. And death is not the end. It is only the beginning. The moment you surrender to the process, the moment you let go of your grip on the life you've known, you open yourself to infinite possibilities. No longer bound by the limitations of your old self, you are free to become whatever you desire, to create something far greater than what you once were. You are free to experience the world not through the lens of your past, but with fresh eyes, untainted by the weight of your history. So, prepare yourself. The time has come for your old self to burn. Let it go. Let it die. And in that death, know that something infinitely greater is waiting to emerge. The pain will be intense, but it will be worth it. The self you are meant to be is waiting on the other side, and only by embracing destruction can you ever become who you were always meant to be. Trust no one. The truth you seek, the truth you desire, is not hidden in the words of others. It is not confined within the pages of a book, nor is it found in the wisdom of those who have walked before you. The truth is not something to be inherited, nor is it something that can be gifted. It is something you must find for yourself, through your own trials, your own journey, and your own experience. Only by testing the world, by confronting it with your own hands, eyes, and heart, can you ever hope to uncover what lies beneath the surface of all that is spoken. Do not be fooled by the comfort of second-hand knowledge, for it is a veil that blinds you to the raw power of first-hand truth. The words of others, no matter how wise, no matter how revered, are nothing more than echoes of their own journeys, their own truths, their own perceptions. And these truths, however valuable to them, are not yours. You must forge your own understanding, carved from the fire of your own life. When you rely on the wisdom of others, you place your faith in a fragile thing, a thing that may crumble before your very eyes. The world is not made of easy answers, nor is it governed by the neat conclusions of others' minds. The world is wild, untamed, and only through your own struggle, your own engagement with it, will you come to know its true nature. Be suspicious of those who claim to know. Be wary of those who tell you what the world is, for they have only seen a fragment of the truth. They offer you a lens to view life through, but their lens is not yours. It is tinted by their own desires, their own experiences, their own limitations. The only lens that can reveal the truth to you is the one you forge yourself, through the raw, unfiltered experience of life itself. And yet, the temptation is strong, isn't it? The desire to trust, to believe, to follow the guidance of those who have walked further down the path. But you must resist it. You must take the step into the unknown, into the chaos of your own untested mind. You must immerse yourself in the world, and only then will you see it as it is, not as someone else has seen it, not as someone else has told you it is. Your experiences will be messy, they will be flawed, they will be full of failures and mistakes. But it is in those mistakes, in the moments when everything falls apart, that you'll discover the truth of who you are, and the truth of the world around you. The answers you seek cannot be delivered to you. They must be earned. So go forth. Question everything. Reject the answers of others, and test everything for yourself. Do not settle for easy truths, for they are nothing more than illusions. The truth is not a thing to be found, it is a thing to be lived. Only through experience will you uncover the reality that lies beneath the surface of all things. Trust no one, for no one can carry the weight of your truth but you. As you venture into the unknown, remember, the path to truth is never easy, and it is never paved. You must break down what holds you back, shatter the illusions that imprison your mind, and embrace the chaos of creation. Only through destruction and rebirth will you become who you are meant to be. Now go. Challenge the world. Be ready to lose everything in order to gain what is truly yours. Live fiercely, question boldly, and above all, never stop evolving. Stay free. Stay true.